You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host, who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong, author and cerebral palsy advocate, Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. This afternoon I have Rhonda with me, and so I'm going to let Rhonda take it away, and I'll state my programming announcement at the end.
My name is Rhonda Stalb. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist in Huntsville, Alabama, and I serve the community by treating mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and trauma, and relational trauma. And I have been doing it for the last 10 years. I graduated in 2012, and that 10 years included internships and everything. So it's important. The mental health field is very important to me. I'm very passionate about it because, I come from a long line of people who have had mental health issues, and so I want to turn that around and be a person who advocates for caring for yourself when you have a mental health issue. So do you think let me ask you how important that is to you. What do you think about?
Oh, no, you're throwing the ball back in my court. I believe strongly in mental health. So much so, you guys, after journalism school, I'm considering, if I don't get too busy, I'm considering going back to school again to get my degree in psychology and pursue my doctorate.
Yeah, I'm working on my doctorate right now too. I took a break for a little while, but I'm supposed to go back at the end of April for my new class. So I'm looking forward to restarting again and getting that ball rolling.
Yeah,
So,
well, we gotta do something now. Now that we have all this time on our hands, we gotta do something.
Yeah, I like to learn a lot. I'm taking all my continuing education credits and just, I have to maintain my license that way. I'm licensed by the state of Alabama, so we're required to have 40 CEUs a year. So.
Well, good. Now, Rhonda, if you had to move and only take 5 things with you, what would they be? What would they be?
Well, I would take number one. I'd take my Bible with me because I love the Word of God and I have a relationship with Jesus, and I always like to read His Word. Number two, I would take anything that would play music. I guess my phone. I had iTunes on it. Because I would have to have music. A pad of paper so I can write something. Because I love writing. And I would take a picture of my children and my husband, and also my cross, just as a memento of what that represents. So yeah, that's what I would take. What would you
Well,
take?
what would I take? I would
Yeah.
take my laptop, my phone,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I would probably, um, for the exception of fa- for the exception of family, I would probably land up taking my stepmom with me because I need 24-hour care. I can't do it on my
Mhm.
own, and so if push came to shove, I would take my stepmom with me. But I would definitely take something that would play music as well because I love music, and so definitely
Mhm.
I would take the music in. I would take my laptop, my phone, so I could have communications, and
Yeah.
surprise,
It's
surprise,
important.
probably I would probably take a class. Surprise, surprise to you guys. Um, faith and spirituality is super
Uh-huh.
important to me, and I would probably take a class and
Mhm.
take either a class that was a necklace or a class that was wooden, and that's it.
Mhm. That sounds like some great stuff.
And Rhonda, if your best friend had to write a book about you, what would the title be?
Friend, if she would write a book about my life, what would it be?
Yeah.
What the? Well, I think it would be about my faith and just how I've overcome tremendous adversity. And in fact, I've kind of already written a book about that. So it's on Amazon right now. It's called Beautifully Broken: My Journey to a Mended Heart. And so, yeah, it's a memoir of how I overcame a lot of just pain and trauma.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I became a therapist, because, I want to understand family dysfunction and how I can help people turn that around, because it can be turned around, it can be healed from.
And so, what is your favorite book and what is the title?
My favorite book would be the Anne of Green Gables series, because I love her imagination, and I grew up on those books as a child, and I watched the movies, and because I'm also a writer. I love writing, and she inspired me to write stories, and I did book reports as a senior in high school and got A's on all my reports because I was able to really, condense the emotion of the story. And also, my teacher told me, well, you should be a writer when you grow up, but it's funny how I became a therapist. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I
So,
guess writing and therapy are two things, two, maybe
yeah,
the same or different things.
yes. So, Anne of Green Gables is your favorite book, and
Yeah.
again, I make this announcement. Um, the libraries right now across the country are using Libby and Overdrive to have to help people check out books. And so please, please, please go look at the Anne of Green Gables book series because that's a uplifting book. And I was actually, it's so funny, Rhonda, you mentioned Anne of Green Gables. I was able, when I was younger, to travel to Nova Scotia and see where Anne of Green Gables, see where that all took place.
Oh, yeah, that must have been fun.
For Anne of Green Gables, Fan, no, I love to travel. So
Yeah.
so for me, traveling is one of those things that that is great. I don't get to do it that often, but I want to.
Yeah, me too. I like to travel and see new sites. I took my daughter to New York one year. That was really fun. I got to be, at the Empire State Building and see the Freedom Tower, and that was pretty cool. So,
And what is your morning routine?
well, I usually get up and listen to like uh a Christian a podcast like Pastor Rick and daily devotionals and things like that, and get up. And it's been kind of loosey goosey around here with the COVID-19 quarantine, so I've been kind of lax on my routines a little bit, but usually like always like get my eyes wake up usually at about 5:30 in the morning, and then I'll listen to something like that, and just to prepare my mind for the day and get up. And usually I start my video counseling with people at about 9 o'clock, and you know, um, and sometimes I'll have a break in between, where I can eat lunch and talk to my husband, and or go get my daughter from work or something like that. So
Well,
it's nice to be able to make my own schedule.
for right now it is. Although, um, even though you're in an office setting, you can probably make your own schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, I own my own business, my own practice. So,
Yeah.
I'm pretty much my own boss, but, I don't really have to answer to anybody, you know, um, but the people I pay rent to, but that's really about it.
Yeah, that's generally
Yeah.
about it. And so, as we wrap this interview up, do you have any questions for me?
Yes. When did you start your podcast?
Well, I wrote a book and I published that book in October of 2010.
Yeah.
And so it will be 10 years in August. Well, 10 years that my mom died. And so I have been a published author for 10 years, and um, I am working on the books slowly but surely. And I um, started the podcast to market the book, and then it just progressed into what I'm doing today.
Nice. So what inspired you to do a podcast
What
besides your book?
inspired me to do a podcast? Well,
Yeah.
I wanted, because of that book, I
Mm.
wanted to raise awareness about fairly unknown disability. You guys know it as cerebral palsy, but it's
Uh-huh.
very unknown, and it's very unknown from the adult perspective. And so I
Mhm.
wanted to raise awareness all throughout my life about cerebral palsy and the trials and tribulations. And
Mhm.
so when I wrote the book, I thought, great, now how am I going to market this book? And that's why I started doing a podcast, and that's why I interview the people that I interview, because I want to entwine my story with my interviewees, just so
Mhm.
now people have a reason to get up in the morning, just so
Mhm.
now I am considering myself a central worker now. because
Uh-huh.
I lost my job due to everything that's going on right now. And
Yeah.
so I was going to quit in May and just retire in May and call it good. But I lost my job due to everything that's going on. And so that's why I am doing content creation to the guilt right now, because I know that people will be able to get up every single morning and put one foot in front of the other. And yes, I believe in mental health. Yes, if you need to go see a mental health professional like Rhonda, and I know a ton of them all across the country now, I even know mine who can help you guys out if it comes down to it, even though she's out here. We have contacts all across the country. And so if you guys need to go see a professional help, by all means do, because professional help has saved me and it's saving a bunch of others. And so now is the time to do it. And now you can do it from the comforts of your own home through telehealth. And yeah, now is the time to do it.
Yes. Yep. If you live in
Oh, yeah.
Alabama, if you live in Alabama, you can find me on Psychology Today. So look me up.
Yep. Yep. And so, yeah. And it's Psychology Today is one of those references that you guys can use. And yeah.
Mhm. Yep. So
And as I said to you guys, after I finish my journalism degree, I'm actually going back to school for psychology. So yeah, that's going to be a
mhm.
click and a half, only because I love helping people.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at many different avenues as far as, mental health professions, and marriage and family therapy was the best one for me because I wanted to understand the family systems aspect of everything. So that's why I went into the marriage and family therapy track of the mental
So,
health field.
so Wanda, where can people find you, and where can people get a hold of you if they choose to do so?
Well, I'm listed on Psychology Today under Rhonda Marie Stalb, and also I can be found in South Huntsville in Huntsville, Alabama, and my website is rhondamariestalblmft.com. So you can go on there and click on my schedule an appointment button, and we can start the process.
Awesome. Awesome. And for those of you that need to reach out to me, you can always reach out to me, and if you guys don't look at the show notes, I'll just put you in contact with Rhonda. I'll put you in contact with all the mental health professionals that I know, including the one that I use, if worse comes to worse. And then we'll all work together, you guys. And also, I know that Joyce, um, Dr. Joyce, she calls herself Dr. Joyce. I don't know Joyce's last name, but she does therapy for Black girls, and she's a clinical psychologist. And what she did a long time ago now is put together a database of all therapists all across the countries. So if you Google therapy for Black girls, Dr. Joyce, and go to her website, you will definitely find that. And her database is extensive. And she mentioned that on a podcast as well, because she wants to help you guys out. And I'm actually trying to bring her on my podcast as well. We'll see when that happens. But I want you guys to stay safe, stay happy, stay sane, and use mental health if you need it. And Rhonda, what would be your closing thoughts for this interview?
Closing thought would be to practice self-care on a daily basis and make sure that you're checking in with someone, and it's okay to admit that you need help.
Yep, exactly, you guys. And so I will catch you guys next week. And I hope you guys enjoyed another fabulous episode with Rhonda and myself. And reach out if you need anything. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.